Hello, YouTubers. Want to do a small piece on the Alton Sterling murder. I call it a murder because it was, in my eyes, it was beyond the scope of a police officer's duties to go as far as it actually went. Granted, police officers have to protect themselves out there, but to a certain extent, their level of professionalism makes a big difference on how things are perceived by the public. As you can see, I have my USMC sweatshirt on. Did a couple of years in the Marine Corps and a few combat tours. And I can tell you, our views on the escalation of force in a combat zone is a whole lot different from the police department, who's actually operating in a environment with our citizens. Like for us in a combat zone, you're not allowed to shoot unless you actually see an actual weapon, and not just see it, has to have some type of intent of the weapon coming towards you. You just don't shoot someone just because they actually have a weapon. But anyway, off that point, the job of a police officer, it should be a peace officer mentality, but police have recently and over time had more of a militaristic view of how they actually police our streets. If that police officer would have actually approached Alton Sterling and says, hey, put your hands up, even if the police officer had his gun out in advance, if supposedly they had a call saying he had a gun, the police officer could have had his gun in hand, walked up to him, said, put your hands up, we suspect you of actually having a firearm, and we're going to search you. That would have been one way to actually diffuse a lot of all the antics that went on. And from there, he could have took it forward. But to walk up to someone and just grab him, say, put your hands on the fucking car, and put a gun up to his head, say, if you don't do it, I'm going to shoot you in the fucking head. To me, that's not a level of professionalism. And it was just childish, and his views was already starting to tip one way. One of the things we didn't get to see, I happened to catch it on Yahoo. They posted it, and it was actually removed within hours, was after Alton Sterling was shot 3 times in the chest, 3 times in the back by this police officer. While he's down on the ground, the police officer standing over him with a gun still pointed at him, and he says, you stupid motherfucker, stupid fucking nigger. And once he said that, to me, that actually took it to a different place. It wasn't just policing anymore. I mean, to throw racist antics in there after you shot a man, it just shows that his mentality was not where it's supposed to be for a police officer. Now, I know it's a lot of people out there that made videos talking about, you know, Alton Sterling was a felon. He owed like child support. He was selling DVDs and CDs that was copyright infringement. And you can see, you know, the fines and jail time for selling bootleg things. Granted, yes, it's there, but death is not one of those things that's on there. You're not sentenced to death by a police officer because you're selling CDs. So let's get that straight. He could have complied a little more, but I think the level of professionalism on the police officer's part played a big part on how this thing actually went down. Are blacks usually roughhoused by police for no reasons? A lot of the times they are, but mainstream don't really see it and always calls it resisting. But if every time you go out, like you have someone pushing on you and doing things to you, then the resistance gets greater. And I just wish that the whole America would realize that the more we stay separated, the harder things are going to be. Down the road, there probably won't be any lines between the black and the white. It'll be just like a nasty scene out there, and more people, if you keep those viewpoints, will actually start going in their separate directions, and that's not the way to go. That's my take.